So, if you've ever seen any of my previous videos, then you know that the soundtrack in a video game is just as important to me as gameplay. It is what sets up the mood during the whole game, whether it immerses you or detracts from the experience. Today I'm going to look at some of my favorite soundtracks in video games. These are all games in which I've played myself. Some of them may be franchises as a whole, so as to keep the single series from, taking over a whole list. So, without further delay, let's begin. Number 5! So, Tales of Symphonia is actually one of my favorite hidden gems. The game itself is a masterpiece, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the genius that is Motoi Sakuraba. He is the composer for most of the Tales of games, and I've heard of a few other of his pieces from across the franchise, but to me, Tales of Symphonia's soundtrack truly stands out as the best. It takes the feeling of starting off in a small town and working your way out into a vast world, and making that music fit perfectly with whatever you're doing, whether it be visiting a nearby town, or going to break a seal, entering an enemy base, or fighting for your life against an insane boss. Also, the battle music in RPGs is important. It's probably the music that'll get stuck in your head the most, considering that's what you'll be hearing 80% of the time, and Tales of Symphonia does not disappoint in that department. It doesn't just have one main battle theme, but 3, plus bosses. All of them stand out from one another and just sound so catchy. If you've ever, dang it, I keep saying ever, never actually sat down and listened to Symphonia's soundtrack, I highly suggest you give that a go. Number 4! As a classic Nintendo fan, it may be considered blasphemy to enjoy Sonic the Hedgehog as much as I do. Let me just start by saying that I wasn't always a fan of Sonic. My first real Sonic game was Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the GameCube, and I fell in love with the game. I enjoyed the music as well, especially the Sonic and Shadow stages. Then again, that may have just been my young rebellious side talking, what with the rock and roll and such. After that, however, I decided to play more games from the Sonic franchise, starting all the way back with Sonic 2 for the Genesis. Wow, the Genesis may not have had the best sound for its time, but man did Sonic 2 stand out in the music department. I absolutely adore Hilltop Zone, Metropolis Zone, even the section where you're on the plane with Tails had great music. After that, I continued playing Sonic games and loving most of the music that went along with it. Not gonna lie though, I haven't played every Sonic game up until this point. Sonic has a bad rap with games in recent memory, but that hasn't stopped me from listening to some of the music that's gone with those games. To me, the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise has always been an uphill and downhill battle, but I can say that there's one thing that's always been consistently good, or decent at least, and that is the music. Number 3! I love Undertale so much, and oh my god, the music is just so good. It's just so freaking catchy. Like, every single piece of music, whether it be a battle, or an event, a town, whatever. This game was an unexpected, incredible experience to me. This game resonated with me on multiple levels, and that's hard for a game to do for me. I'm a hard person to impress. With this game being an indie game, and pretty much made by one person, trust me, I was impressed. The great thing about this is that I'm not the only one who thinks the soundtrack is amazing either. If you look it up on YouTube, so many of the songs that appear in Undertale have millions of views, and with good reason. It's like a new experience for a person, but with a heavy pull on nostalgia. One song I would like to point out in particular is the song that plays while you're in the waterfall section. It's so peaceful, yet intimidating. Like there's something going on, but you're just so focused on the pretty lights and the beautiful environment that it doesn't even matter. You just get so engrossed in the game in general because of the music. Plus, I just freaking love listening to Megalovania. I mean, do yourself a favor, first of all, buy the game. Second, enjoy the masterpiece that is the Undertale soundtrack. Number 2! Where do I begin with the Zelda franchise? Well, what is something that might come to mind when you think of The Legend of Zelda? Good story? Yeah, mostly. Great gameplay? Definitely. Music? Well, I should think so, considering a few of the games have put a great emphasis on that very section. The main items for a few of the games are items that play music, for crying out loud. If you had a game that focused on music that way, you'd pretty much have to have good music, and well, it does. The music in Zelda games always feels grand. Like you always have a huge field to run through, and it actually feels big because of the song. It encourages exploration, and just makes you feel pumped. Generally speaking, most of the temples sound atmospheric and appropriate to the theme of the temple as well. It also has one of the most iconic main themes in all of gaming. One of my favorite songs in all of Zelda music though has to be the Forest Temple from Ocarina of Time. It just sounds so mysterious and beautiful. I'm sure if you ask anyone what music they think of when it comes to Zelda temples, the Forest Temple is going to be the answer that comes up the most. Plus, you have to give Farewell Hyrule King a listen from Wind Waker. So much emotion. I just love Zelda. Number 1! I've been a fan of Super Mario since I was very young, like toddler years. It's easily the most influential franchise for me when it comes to getting into gaming. I love Super Mario. I'm putting Mario above all other franchises because out of all the other games that I've played, these games have consistently had great music throughout every entry. I'm not even just talking about the mainline games either. I'm talking about the RPGs, the sports games, Mario Kart, the parties. Every game has a distinct yet instantly recognizable music. Think of it this way. If you asked a person what music they thought of when it comes to video games, you're not going to get an obscure Final Fantasy or probably not even Zelda. You're going to hear the Super Mario Bros. Theme. Its music is easily the most recognizable music in all of video games, and with good reason. It doesn't matter how many times I've heard the athletic theme from Mario 3 or Dire Dire Docks from Mario 64, I never get tired of it. And it keeps getting better as time goes on. Super Mario Galaxy and its sequel have some of the most beautifully orchestrated soundtracks of any game to date. It may just be the nostalgia talking, but I think a lot of people agree that there are a lot of Mario games, and most of them, even some of the bad games like Mario's Time Machine, have pretty good music. So there you have it. Video game music at its best. Obviously there's a lot of games to choose from, and these aren't the only games that I enjoy the music to. I also love Grant Kirkhope's music in the old N64 games. I love The Last of Us's somber yet emotional soundtrack. These games just happen to resonate with me more than the others. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and please feel free to subscribe to my channel or share this video. Anything helps. Thanks for watching.